As is tradition over here at the JW Thoughts channel, whenever there is a Gilead graduation, they have a segment where they get to interview some of the most indoctrinated people within the Jehovah's Witness organization, and they publish it online. So I like to always analyze it just to kind of see how the minds of these indoctrinated people work, and also make a little bit of fun out of it. Anyway, let's do this. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we are looking at the inside story, everyone's favorite segment from the Gilead graduation. But before we get into it, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for further content like this. I think I kind of kerfuffled that. Maybe I'll do it again. Nah, I won't do it again. Let's just run it.
Brother and Sister Sylvester, welcome. It's nice to have you on the Inside Story today. You're both coming to us from Britain, and you're in the branch in Britain. Can you tell us what your assignments are? First, Steve?
So I'm currently working with the service department.
Okay, and Gail Marie?
And I'm in the dental department.
Okay. So how did you get to Bethel? What brought you to serve in Bethel, Steve?
Well, my mum and my dad, he wasn't in the truth. So my mum, she brought myself and my brother up, and she always encouraged the full-time ministry. It was something that she focused a lot on. In fact, there's a picture of my mum there. This was a congregation trip that we went on to visit some brothers in Italy. I think I was about 12. I was a tall 12-year-old, wasn't I? But actually, this picture typifies the type of environment my mum wanted us to be in, because she always sort of immersed us in theocratic activities.
It's really interesting how they talk about this immersion in spiritual activities and really making that a highlight of your life, because I've been thinking a lot about just growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and what that really does to your mind and how it kind of shapes your future as well, because this immersion is awful. The only thing you know how to do properly is be a Jehovah's Witness. You don't know anyone on the outside. You don't know how to do any of the normal things on the outside. All you know is going out in service, going to meetings, and doing Bible study. That's it. And it's really hard to move on from that and integrate yourself in the real world. But I think this is just a really good highlight of why people end up staying way too long. Even if they do know something is fundamentally wrong with the Watchtower, they'll still stay because it's all they know, because from childhood, they were immersed in the world. They were completely saturated with only Jehovah's Witness activities.
Yeah, that was me with the transport department. I was a truck driver, so we got to travel all over the country. So I just loved my assignment, loved the brothers I worked with, just loved the whole Bethel environment.
And you got to wear a blue blazer.
Indeed.
Because the WWF needs a superhero like the Blue Blazer. One that can protect good from evil.
So you're living your dream. Mm-hmm. You're there in Bethel.
Yep.
But you had some changes in your life. What circumstances changed for you that led you out of Bethel?
So it got to a point where my mum's health wasn't so good. So I needed to make a decision. What do I do? Do I stay in Bethel? Can I support her in some way? I mean, my brother, he was excellent, but he was now married. He had a family in the south of England. So I made the decision to leave Bethel. In doing so, we started courting. We got married. Sadly, my mum, she did pass away. And then we had the opportunity to return to Bethel service.
Wow, a second time. Well, it's a very responsible decision that you made. So what did you think of that, Gail Marie? Was Bethel a goal of yours?
Not at all. No, I never desired to go to Bethel. I was quite happy pioneering in our little territory in London. But something that made me change my thinking was before Steve's mum died. She said to us that if we had the health, the strength to do more for Jehovah, do it.
So this is kind of like the anatomy of being a Jehovah's Witness. Normal human beings in the world have this autonomy where they are free moral agents that can choose to take particular paths and do whatever really they want. And when you're a Jehovah's Witness, all of that is lost. You trade that natural autonomy for pseudo-slavery. You are threatened with death and blood guilt. If you do not be the best Jehovah's Witness that you possibly can be, it is possible that when the end comes, you might just die. So the threat of death is always hanging over people's heads, and that's why they act in this way, where they just get jerked around from one position to another, and it's not because they want to do this thing. Even she says, oh, I kind of hesitated. I don't know, living out of a suitcase, that doesn't sound that great. I kind of liked what we were doing. That doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the loyalty to the organization. And it's really interesting to highlight these sorts of examples because for people that are Jehovah's Witnesses or just recently waking up, remember that this was built into your brain, and people that have been out of the organization for a while, it's good to remember that, oh, wait, I'm free to do whatever I want now. I can make those choices, and I don't have to answer to some goofballs halfway across the world. So anyway, let's get into this because oddly enough, there is a level of self-awareness from the interviewer and the interviewees about this whole situation.
We got over the initial disappointment of leaving Bethel. We really enjoyed our pioneer ministry, loving being with the congregation. We were busy.
We were busy.
Very busy.
Mm-hmm.
What happened next?
So one morning, the postman comes, and in the post was this white envelope. And it was an invitation for us to begin training for substitute circuit work. So we were shocked. We didn't see that one coming. Again, after talking about it, praying about it, we accepted the assignment and began substitute work, which was nice because we could be flexible with our work. Obviously, it's not every week, so it was a nice assignment. It suited us well.
And I guess suited also for taking care of your father.
Yeah, enabled us to be able to do both.
But you didn't stay in the substitute work, did you?
Not for very long.
No.
8 months?
8 months, so again, a change. So 8 months down the line, we received another white envelope. It's that postman again. So he turns up with another white envelope, and this time it's inviting us to train for regular circuit work.
What did you think of that, Gail-Marie?
So again, it wasn't my natural desire. I never thought about circuit work. Travelling didn't necessarily appeal to me, living out of a suitcase, staying in people's homes. These were all things that were on my mind. But again, Steve's mum's words rang in my head that if you have the health, strength, circumstances to do something more for Jehovah, then try it.
But that must have been a bit of a concern for you because you're going into the regular circuit work, but you still have your dad to take care of, correct?
Yeah, it was a big concern because, of course, accepting a circuit assignment, we could be assigned anywhere in our branch territory. So we knew that was a possibility. But again, you trust in Jehovah, and that's what we did. So when we did receive our first circuit assignment, Jehovah certainly didn't let us down because our first assignment was in London, and it covered the area where my dad actually lived. So we were able to accept the assignment.
Well, what a great benefit from tasting and seeing.
If you ever want to know what it's like to be a Jehovah's Witness and what you consider a blessing, here's a classic example. People that are in a position where they got training to do a particular job, but can't do a job unless they live in a particular area. And the Watchtower knows this. So they gave them an assignment and they say, oh, blessed be to God. Thank Jehovah. This is a real blessing. Who'd have thunk that people that were trained to be circuit overseers and the Watchtower who trained them knew they couldn't leave that area because they had already left Bethel in order to take care of his dad. Who would have seen it coming that they would have gotten an assignment in that area? It's so fake. They have to dig so deep to try and manufacture these blessings, because at the end of the day, there's truly nothing miraculous ever happening inside the walls of Watchtower. So they just have to make it up.
But then in circuit work, of course, a few years will go by and you'll be moved. So what happened with your next circuit?
Sadly, unexpectedly as well, my dad passed away. So we didn't see that coming. So once we dealt with that, we were then able to take up a circuit assignment wherever the branch assigned us. And eventually we were assigned to Scotland, beautiful Scotland.
How did you both enjoy Scotland?
Loved it. Loved Scotland. Yeah, the people very friendly. Obviously, the brothers and sisters very friendly. The ministry was quite easy because you could start conversations very easily. But we loved it. We loved serving in Scotland.
It seems to be a recurring theme now, though, because I know you're just enjoying this assignment, which almost means now it's time for a change for the two of you. How did your next change come about?
No white envelope this time.
Okay.
But
you were getting afraid of those.
I was getting afraid of. I stopped making eye contact with the postman.
This is fascinating that they actually have this moment of self-awareness where they're calling things for what they are. Because when you're a Jehovah's Witness and you have an assignment and you're giving everything to the organization, as soon as you are happy and enjoying yourself, that's when you get moved. They even acknowledge it. And that's because that's what it is like being a Jehovah's Witness. If you are just a regular Jehovah's Witness, they want you to do more. So you start doing more, you become an auxiliary pioneer, something like that. As soon as you do that, well, when are you going to start regular pioneering? Oh, okay. So then you start regular pioneering. Oh, okay. Well, don't you want to be a ministerial servant? Oh, okay. Be a ministerial. Well, don't you want to be an elder? Well, then don't you want to be a circuit overseer? Well, don't you want to go to Bethel? Well, don't you want to get involved? It's always more. There's never an end to it. They will always continue to squeeze the most they can out of people. And being happy and comfortable with something you're doing is bad because it gets you comfortable. And when you're comfortable, there's a chance you might start thinking for yourself. So what Watchtower does to people is they just always hold something else out, a new goal, a new thing to do, just to sort of keep them busy. So that way they don't get comfortable and have a moment to sit back in a chair, have a beer, and think for themselves. It's really sad to see it live and in action, but it's one of the reasons why I wanted to even talk about this was because of this moment right here.
But I received the phone call one Tuesday morning.
In the middle of his traditional Scottish breakfast.
Yeah. Not a great time because I was focused. And I took the phone and he began the conversation by saying, are you sitting down? So I'm thinking, oh boy, what's he going to say? And he invited us to return to Bethel once again. So my next question was, well, when would you like us in? A couple of weeks from now? The answer, well, actually, if you can come in this Friday, that would be better. So after some negotiation, we managed to negotiate the following Monday as the date that we return to Bethel.
I keep asking you the same question, Gallery, but how did you react to the phone call?
So as much as I loved circuit work, I was super excited to go back to Bethel. I was so excited, I packed my bags on the same day.
So this is what it means ultimately to be a Jehovah's Witness. You are nothing more than a hammer or a screwdriver in their toolbox. They will use you when they need to and however they see fit, and you just have to go along with it. And if you're happy about your assignment, that's a blessing. And if you're not happy about your assignment, well, that's a blessing also. There's really no winning being a Jehovah's Witness. There's no happiness. Like, maybe you find something that makes you happy, but it's just random chance at that point, and that is not a healthy way to live your life. Now, they did have 3 interviews here, but it's a lot of sort of the same thing, so I don't think we really need to go into it, or else this video would just go on and on for an hour, and nobody needs that in their life. But with all that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to smile. And Merry Christmas.